Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakodash, double honors to our elders and apostles of great millstone that taught us his truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful Akim, teaching and preaching his truth with all righteousness and sincerity. This is Aki Awasab, and today's lesson is another edition of news, prophecies, and global events. And Lord willing, be edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the true names of the Heavenly Father, and his only begotten Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Lord God and Jesus Christ. And as always, our sit downs, our lessons, our street speaking is for the remnant, the elect, the Israel of the Most High, to use the gospel preached. And as always, our focal point is the prophecies. The prophecies are the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai. All right. And as we continue to stand upon our watch and measure the time diligently, we're going to be looking at these different events that's taking place globally. All right, we're not just reducing our information just to local news and things that's surrounding, our state. We're looking at things, all right, in a wider sense. We're seeing things that's happening globally because when the Lord make his return, his focal point of destruction is Babylon the Great, which is America, but other parts throughout the earth will be suffering chaos, turmoil, and different things. And the Lord left us signs, all right, to look for, to let us know how close we are to the end. And Slack, I'm just looking at something. You probably can't see it on your side, but I'm just looking up something right quick. But as far as the events, I have a couple. Let me actually change the screen. Got a couple of reports up. And I suggest bros to subscribe to Wehan. They bring on a lot of global information. And this one is entitled World Business Watch. Inflation accelerates across the world. Rising inflation, a global problem. We often speak about inflation, but it's not just happening here in Babylon the Great. It's happening worldwide. Remember, this new system that Esau Edom is trying to push out is a new financial system, and it's set up to make an impact globally. All right. And then a lot of times what Esau does is, which Esau is a so-called white man, and he will be pushing out his implantable technology by way of this new financial system. What Esau does is, in these other countries, they test out their certain strategies. They push certain things in these other countries to see how it worked, to collect the data, and then they implement it here in the States. So it's good to watch what's going on in these different areas. So we got this pulled up. All right. We also got from Fox News, what is big tech's role in preventing the spread of misinformation? So we're gonna watch a little bit of that. And then with the recent situation with Kanye coming out, so-called having a something to say against the small hats, whether it's genuine or he's control opposition just so they can say, look, it's anti-Semitism going on. We need to get a hand on it, and we need to see what these, as it says here, these big tech companies, Google, all right, Twitter, a lot of these media outlets, we need to see what they're doing about it. All right. So we're gonna look at that. We're gonna make it with the prophecies. Scripture speak about a famine of the word. And then the cost of living crisis, with Esau Edom pushing out his new financial system, he have to get the people in a position where they're weakened financially, they're weakened mentally. All right, they're suffering from all type of debt problems. All right, the infrastructure is crumbling, and what Esau is going to do is he's going to come with the remedy. So this pretty much where it says here the cost of living. They have a term called cost of living crisis. Everybody is being affected, so it's all in Esau's best interest, right? And then we have some judgment going on in Venezuela. All right, which the Venezuelans, all right, are a part of the 12 tribes, the tribe of Asher, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so Lord willing, we keep this under an hour. and we get out this information and feed the sheep. Now, before we get into anything, I want to actually get a couple of precepts just to set the foundation. This is you know what? We're gonna go to Second Esdras 9. Esdras, he was a Levite. You read about him in the book of Nehemiah. You know, he opened the book of the law, taught the Israelites, gave them understanding of the law, and he was contemporary with Nehemiah. There was other prophets on the scene around that time. It was Zerubbabel, which he was a governor of Judah. You also had Zechariah, Haggai, like I said, Nehemiah, you know, various prophets. This is Second Esdras 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. So measure going into judging. All right, we judging the time. We're seeing the different things that's happening in the geopolitics worldwide. We're looking at the news. We're looking at the finances. We're looking at the economy. We're looking at all these different things. And that gives us insight on the times that we're in. All right. That's how we measure the time diligently. And then what we're seeing in the world, we made it to the prophecies. And that gives us understanding of the times that we're in. It says, and when thou seest part of the signs, it says, when thou seest. So you got to be paying attention. You got to be standing up on your watch. You got to be looking. All right. Seest part of the signs past, which I told thee before, then shalt thou well understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world in which he made. And it was just recently the Hurricane Fiona. All right. And what was the other one? The Hurricane Ian that hit Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and also Florida. And we know, pursuant to Isaiah 28 and 2 and Isaiah 29 and 6, that the Lord visit the earth by, you know, these different weather catastrophes. All right. It says in the third verse, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people of the world. You know, right now, and I want to say it's in Iran, you got the whole situation with women denouncing their leadership because they feeling oppressed because of the whole hijab situation, which I feel like there's a lot of American influence happening over there. It could be some Americans that look like Iranians over there, you know, stirring up chaos because Esau, he has to make these nations look like the bad guy so he'd be justified in going there and making war with them. And that's pretty much been a sentiment all throughout Esau rulership. So that's a part of up wars. And we can list many up wars that we're seeing globally. All right. But then that's just one that's current. It says an earthquake, add the hurricanes, the twisters, the tornadoes, the tsunamis, add that in there as well. It says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So the Lord told us about these things way from the beginning. He prophesied these different things that we're seeing today. So now let's get this over here. And it's 4 minutes. So we're just going to watch a little bit of it, see what we can pluck out.
Being felt by people in emerging markets and developing. And rising inflation is a global phenomenon, and the pinch of the inflationary surge has not been felt by people in emerging markets and developing companies alone.
I mean, he has an accent, so we can see how much we endure. Matter of fact, we're going to pull up the word inflation real quick. Now, inflation, you should think about the word inflate, which is something that increases. So you think of, when you hear them speaking about inflation, just think about what's increasing. All right. And things that's going to be increasing is goods and services. So inflation.
Inflation.
First entry, the action of inflating something or the condition of being inflated. Once again, inflate means to increase. When you inflate a balloon, you're increasing the size of it. It says in the second entry in economics, a general increase in prices and fall in a purchasing value of money, and that's what we're seeing. Well, we know that Esau Edom, he wants to push out his new financial system, the digital currency. You know, you hear a lot of talk about the CBDC, which that'll be pushed out first, and then that'll be mated to the implantable technology. Our elder Apostle Tahar mentioned that in one of his recent videos. The CBDC, the digital money, will come first, and then the mating it with the implantable technology and making it mandatory, that'll come shortly after. Everything is going to move quick. But as it says here, a general increase in prices, and that's what you see: the price of gas, the price of food, the price of goods and services. And when we say goods and services, I got a list here. All right, because we don't just want to be just blurting out certain things. We want to get an understanding of things. Now, goods and services, you have natural resources in mining, you have construction, you have manufacturing. You know, when you want to go build a house and you need wood, you need lumber, you need different building materials, you know, those things are becoming more expensive. All right. And then, like I said, the natural resources, the gas, the energy, that's getting expensive. And then you have trade, transport, and utilities. You know, even over there in Europe, you know, they're projecting that this coming fall and winter months, you know, it's going to be an energy crisis where they're going to see a substantial increase in the amount of their utilities. All right, that's going to cause an uproar and a ripple effect in the economy as well. Transportation, you know, you being able to catch a plane, you being able to get on buses and all that, you're going to see an increase all across the board as far as trade, transport, and utilities, information, and financial activities, professional and business services. You know, when you out there trying to get certain business taken care of, things is going to cost more. Education and health services. People are, you know, complaining about college tuition is costing more. You know, all these play a major part in the economy. And if things is continuing to increase by way of inflation, that's going to change the mindset and the behavior of the people. And that's going to cause, uh, as the scripture say, the love of many waxing cold. People's going to, you know, change from having that love for their neighbor and love for their community to just worrying about themselves. All right. And then you can expect crime, riot, looting, so on and so forth. Leisure and hospitality, the price of hotels. When you want to go out, you know, and eat at a hotel, or you want to go and stay at a hotel, everything is getting expensive, and as well as other services. So inflation is going to be seen all throughout those different points that I brought out through the spirit, and people's going to mourn. People's going to find out that they got to work 2 or 3 jobs to keep up, and even working 2 or 3 jobs keeping up, that's wear and tear on the body, more stress, you know. So people are just mentally out of it. All right. So now let's get a little more here from this World Business Watch. Let's tune in.
But even those who live in high income economies are feeling the squeeze this time.
So he said those that are living in high economic economies are even feeling the squeeze. So, you know, he's talking about over here in the US.
Inflation is dominating headlines in every corner of the globe. From the Americas to Europe to Asia and Africa, prices of essential commodities, they continue to rise across the world. The increasing costs, it's causing people to hit the streets in protest. Central banks are
uproars of the people of the world. We read that in 2 Esdras 9. Once again, 2 Esdras 9 and 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people of the world, this inflation is going to cause people to protest and come against their governments. All right. They're going to want their governments to step in to help out with the financial squeeze people are experiencing, you know, with their day-to-day, you know, purchases, you know, with their livelihood. All right, this is 2 Esdras 15. And we, as I always say, we always in 2 Esdras 15, always in 2 Esdras 16. That's what's coming to pass right now. So we're going to constantly be over here. You want to read start from the top, which I will. And I hit the point. This is 2 Esdras 15 and 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So you want to be speaking prophecy. You want to covet to prophesy. You want to give people warning of the different things that will shortly come to pass. All right, that's the duty of a man of the Lord, a prophet, which the Lord has a close relationship with the prophets. As it says here, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So this is divinely inspired from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And it starts off with our elders and apostles, a great millstone, verse 2, and caused them to be written in paper. That's how we got the Bible. The prophets, the scribes, the prophets received the visions, and the prophets wrote down the things that they saw. And they were, like I said, they were divinely inspired. It says, for they are faithful and true, meaning they're going to come to pass. Now, when we go down to, let's see, 16, start at 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Woe is death and destruction. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. So there's going to be sedition, anarchy, chaos. You know, people's going to, see that their neighborhoods has been um, infiltrated. You know, it's going to be military personnel and people in these communities. They're going to be forming little militias to fight against, different police agencies. All right, the military, different officers of the military, so on and so forth. There shall be sedition among men and invading one another. People are going to be running into people's houses because what's also happening is a looming famine, which is all, engineered at the end of the day. But, it's going to become a dog eat dog world out here, and people's going to be invading people, going into houses, searching it, looking for any substances, anything that they can use, bread, water, food, blankets, utilities. It says they shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So right now, you may have upwards of the people going down to City Hall, in the downtown areas trying to protest. It's going to go from that to people taking matters into their own hands. And that's the fruit of inflation. That's the fruit of goods and service costing a lot. That's the fruit of worker burnout, So let's tune in.
Are trying to curb price rise by raising interest rates. But economic outlook? It is grim. These are some inflation figures for month of August from around the world. In April, IMF had predicted average global inflation level this year would be 7.4%.
The IMF is the International Monetary Fund. That's the banks. Then, they collect data and they seeing how these different countries are dealing economically.
They have not provided an updated outlook so far, but recently, Chief of IMF made a somber speech explaining why this is happening.
First, COVID. Then, Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
You see no accountability. They point the finger at everything else. Oh, it was C-19. It's Russia. When all actuality, it's them, the bankers, the ruling class elites that's causing these things to happen. Let's go to Revelation 6. Got Daniel 12, and Lord willing, we'll get that. But this is Revelation 6 and 4. I started at 3 to build up the vibration. It says, and when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red. Horse is symbolic to power. Red, speaking about these Edomites. So this is talking about these Edomites in power. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. So Esau's lot, what the Lord created Esau for is to take peace from the earth. All right. Let's see if we can do it a certain way. All right, that's fine. All right, it says, and power was given to him. All right. Because he had to fulfill prophecy. That sat thereon to take peace from the earth, like I was mentioning through the spirit. Esau's role is to take peace from the earth, and we see peace being taken. In fact, they say when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. So Esau, pursuant to Malachi, the first chapter, he is the wicked. So therefore, the people is going to mourn, and that's going to take peace from these people. It says, and that they shall kill one another. What we see in regards to Russia and the Ukrainians, and then America is backing the Ukrainians financially and supplying them with military equipment. That's just Esau's spirit. When you go back to actual Esau and Jacob, Esau, he wanted to kill Jacob. So imagine just these Edomites in a whole as a nation. They want to off each other. As it says here, and they shall kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. Genesis, 27? Goes into Esau being blessed with the sword. So this has Esau name written all over it, red. All right. And he's blessed with the sword. He's in power. And the Edomites is the last nation to rule before Yahushua come and establish the kingdom of heaven, which is rulership of the Israelites in the earth. All right. Verse 5, it says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see, and behold, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Balances represents judgment. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, these are the, four, chief angels, a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. This is talking about inflation. All right, let's look at it in another translation. This is Nlt New Living Translation. And I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings say, a loaf of wheat bread, or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. Like I said earlier, well, just now, that's inflation. And that's what people are experiencing right now. Imagine things cost so much. You want to get a loaf of wheat bread, and it costs a day's pay. Let's say, for instance, you're working $16 an hour, right? That's minimum wage here in Babylon, right? $16 an hour times 8, that's $128. That's hyperinflation. And once again, inflation is what?
Inflation.
A general increase in prices and a fall in purchasing value of the money. So things cost a lot because the purchasing power of the money is low, right? All biblical prophecy. Let's continue on. NLT, reading Revelation 6, verse 6, and I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay, and don't waste the oil and the wine, which these are metaphorically speaking about this knowledge, this truth. All right. The knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding isn't going to be tampered with. It's not going to be hurt, which the knowledge and wisdom will be our stability in these times. And that's going to get us through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai through this trouble. All right. Because angels encamping round about them that fear the Lord and deliver them. And then also Ecclesiastes 33, there shall no evil happen unto him that fear the Lord. All right. And the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge and wisdom, which is likened unto oil and wine. Yahweh Shai said, new wine can't enter into old bottles. All right, least they burst. And what he was speaking of, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding he was coming with, couldn't enter into those Israelites that was old and set in their ways. And then the oil, you read about in Matthew, the 25th chapter, the 10 virgins, 5 were wise, 5 were foolish, and the foolish took no oil in their lamp. So the wise, is synonymous with having the oil. Verse 7, and when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th beast say, come and see. And I looked and beheld a pale horse. This is also Esau. And his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him. And these are conditions played out in earth. And when you read in, I'm not going to get it, but when you read in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, where it speaks about his heart, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, that's talking about Esau. And it likened him unto death and hell. So we're reading about Esau here. It says, and power was given unto him over the 4th part of the earth. That's talking about the Americas. To kill with the sword, that's what he blessed with, and with hunger, and with death, and with beasts of the field. Esau even got these AI creatures, these militarized electronic animal-like beings that he created. And they got guns on their backs and all that. So these are Esau's characteristics, and this is what he's going to be fulfilling on the earth. He's going to be killing with the sword and with hunger. So when we hear about famine and all these different things, it's actually engineered by the global elites because they want to push out their new monetary system, the new financial system. And we're seeing how they're building it up. So I'm going to post this in the chat. Obviously we're not going to get to it all. And shalom to the Akim. on the comment board. Shalom, the brother Damawath from Florida. Shalom. All right. And then, so that's that. We're going to segue to our next topic. We're 25 minutes in, trying to keep it, 45 minutes to an hour. Now it says here from Fox News, what is big tech's role in preventing the spread of misinformation? And the biggest misinformation that they want to tackle is this truth, all right? The truth is as evil and wickedness to those who are in power in the earth right now. So let's tune in. This is 7 minutes. I'm not going to play it all. We're going to hear the points and we're going to get to the prophecies.
Welcome back to the Big Sunday Show. Will there be any payback for PayPal? The digital payment system put out a policy that would allow them to fine users for misinformation. Social media exploded, even former PayPal.
You hear that? Fine people for misinformation. Let's go back a little bit. And I see the precept that you put, Brother Damawath. I'm going to get there in just a second.
The digital payment system put out a policy that would allow them to fine users for misinformation. Social media exploded, even former PayPal execs. Former PayPal president David Marcus tweeting in part, quote, a private company now gets to decide to take your money if you say something they disagree with.
Yeah, so, if you come out and say anything that, the powers that be disagree with, you'll get fined, all right? And that's going to segue into what the scripts call the famine of the word, all right? Let me get these precepts that the brother posted real quick. This is Psalm 37, verse 7 from the brother Damawah. Rest in Yahweh. How you rest in the Lord? You rest by understanding that the truth is what's pleasing unto the Lord, and this is where you take your comfort, all right? This is where you rest at, because prior to this truth, you were probably all over the place trying to find comfort, trying to find, different philosophies that you resonate with. But when you came to the truth, this is where you rested. This is where you stopped. It says, and wait patiently on him. And that's going to be one of the characteristics of the saints, the elect, is patience, which patience means to suffer, because we're going to, go through particular things. All right. But it's in efforts to strengthen us and for the Lord to try us. Fret not thyself because of him that prosper in his way. Fret meaning, don't get irritated, don't get all worked up. All right. Because at the end of the day, this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is supposed to enable us to be slow to wrath, because we understand, the will of the Lord. The Lord God has set up these Edomites to do particular things. The Lord setting up Esau to come down with great wrath. And who is he going to come down with great wrath on? The evil, wicked, rebellious Israelites in these nations. But those that fear the Lord, it will be a hedge of protection. It says, fret not thyself because of him that prosper in his way. Esau, he prospers in wickedness, because of the man that bringeth wicked devices to pass. When you go into that word devices, it's counsel. So he's gonna bring that new financial system. He's gonna be bringing this orchestrated, man-made economic collapse, the inflation, the the rising of cost of living, the goods and services being limited, the bottlenecking at the port. He's doing all that stuff behind the scenes, and he's prospering with it. He's prospering. At the end of the day, we know the Lord ruleth in the kingdom of men, and that this is the will of the Lord. He's putting the spirits on Esau to push that out. All right. For Brother Ken, if you're still in here, if you can, post Proverbs 16:4. This is verse 16 in that same chapter. A little that a righteous man hath is better than the riches of many wicked. All right, the little that you have, you may not have a lot, you may not have great substance and all that, but the little that you do have is better, because if you have much riches, you're going to be enticed to do whatever that's needed to sustain your riches. Look at these celebrities. They're going to, whatever Esau tell them to do, they're going to do it because they have gotten comfort. They have received their consolation that you have. And ultimately, the little, spiritually, the little that you have, you may be a brother that, may know the basics, that's better than having great riches and success in this world, because that little bit of truth that you have, that can increase your faith. The Lord will give you more understanding, and then that'll enable that faith to get you through these times. A little that a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. Verse 37. Verse 17. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken. Arms going into the power. The power structure of the wicked, these Edomites, is going to be broken. As they're trying to, get to that status, as they're trying to get to, that height position, so they can, have global dominance of the world. The Lord is going to strike them through with the sword, man. Esau got military shit to worry about, all while he's trying to chip the elect. But the Lord upholdeth the righteous, so that's the elect. The Lord is going to uphold us. We read precepts all the time, how the angels encamp around those that fear the Lord, as well as how the Lord will give charge to his angels concerning thee to keep thee in thy way. So the Lord is going to uphold the elect, and you got to trust in that. You got to believe in that. So let's get back to this report here. Now they're talking about, these big tech companies finding those individuals for misinformation. Now let's play a little bit more, and then we're going to segue into some precepts.
Insanity. And Elon Musk, who co-founded PayPal, replied, agreed. After the backlash, PayPal said the policy was posted, quote, in error. Earlier on Sunday Morning Futures, Arizona Senate candidate Blake Masters, who received large donations from PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel, sounded off.
We need to ban companies at that level, at that size, especially if they're touching banking or if they're in social media. We're going to ban these companies from discriminating against users because of the political content of their speech.
So, of course, Esau, he's going to come against his own and try to set the standard how, hey, look, we come across our own people, these big corporations about misinformation. So what you think is going to happen to the little guys that's on YouTube, so-called bringing out misinformation? They're going to ban it. All right. And we got to, see between the lines when they're coming out with this information. At the end of the day, this truth is an eyesore to Esau. All right. This knowledge, this wisdom and understanding is what's uncovering the agenda of Esau. We're able to tell Esau's moves before he even make it. This is Isaiah 47:1. And it's entitled Lament for Babylon. This is talking about America. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. When you read Psalm 137, verses 7 on down, Esau is synonymous with the virgin daughter of Babylon. So on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. Now the Chaldeans in the ancient Neo-Babylonian empire, they were the Magi's, the sorcerers, the priests. They had the wisdom. Today, that's NASA. That's the medical field, the scientists, all right, and all these wise guys of Esau today. Like I said, NASA, you got the medical field, you got these scholars, you got the scientists, you got the professors, you got these individuals in the medicine, so on and so forth. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Why? Because this place is going to get penetrated. It's going to get hit with thermonuclear destruction during World War III, or as the scripts call it, Armageddon. All right, and I saw that the brother posted Proverbs 16:4, and we're going to get that, Lord willing. It says, take the millstone and grind meal. Now, millstone is an ancient tool that was used to press olives and different wheats to get the produce out of it. And that millstone that we're using through the spirit to grind meal is this truth. And it's a continual grinding, week in, week out. Starting with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, we bringing out the prophecies and the information that's going on globally, and we warning the sheep. So it's like a millstone that's going in circle and just constantly grinding the mill. It says, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the river. So this woman is getting exposed. She's getting uncovered. So when we out teaching and preaching, we doing the sit downs, we doing the lessons, and we bringing out the abundance of information, it's continually exposing this harlot. It's exposing this woman. We're going into the history of Esau. We made it with the prophecies. We're going into how these so-called white people are Edomites, the wicked that the Bible is, the wicked that the Bible speaks of. We're going into how he's going to push out his new financial system and mating it with the prophecies. So we uncovering this guy. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. The nakedness represents the sin. You know, when Moses was up at the Mount Sinai and receiving the law, the statutes, and commandments, when he came down and Aaron had made the Israelites, you know, that golden calf, it said that, you know, he saw that their nakedness, not that they was naked, but they was in sin. They didn't have a covering of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. They wasn't covered in truth. So they was exposed. So thy nakedness, all right, the secrets, the different things he's done behind the scenes, behind the veil, behind the covering, shall be uncovered. All right, so we're exposing. Yeah, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. That's talking about Yahushua. He's coming as an angelic power. He's coming as an entity on the chariots of Israel, the so-called UFOs, to destroy Esau. All right, so Esau is getting exposed, all right, on a high level. He's getting uncovered. So that's why he's coming out with the information about, oh, misinformation. Oh, well, yeah, what you guys are talking about in your videos, that's misinformation. It doesn't resonate with what our historians and what our scholars, all right, and our biblical scholars bring out. It's contrary to that. So you're bringing disinformation. As I mentioned earlier, they got to bring the famine of the word somehow, some way. Now, let me get this over here from the brother Damawaf. Proverbs, the water for posting the precept. Proverbs 16:4, the Lord have made all things for himself. Yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. So the Lord has these Edomites set up to bring evil. All right, let's see. Psalm 78:55. I believe this is going into some history, what the Lord did to those Egyptians. And Esau is the modern day Pharaoh. Psalm 78, verse 55, he cast out the heathen also before them, the Israelites, and divided them an inheritance by line, our land, and made the tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents. Okay, that's talking about the Canaanites, because the Canaanites was driven out of our land. We got the land because it was promised to our forefather Abraham, and we dwell in their stead. Psalm 33:10. Yahweh bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people to none effect. The counsel, the devices, like I said, when you go into that word device and counsel, it's going into their plans, their plots. You know, they got different think tanks that they have behind the scenes conspiring against the children of Israel, all right, to bring, you know, their agenda on them. But as it says here, he maketh the devices of the people of none effect. It ain't going to take effect because at the end of the day, the Lord counsel, that shall stand. All right. Let me see if I can find that precept real quick. And I want to say it's in Proverbs 29. Proverbs 29 is the last verse. I want to say. Maybe 28. Let's see. That shall stand. Proverbs 19, Salaki. So this is Proverbs 19:21. There are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of Yahweh, that shall stand. And the counsel of the Lord is the prophecies. And I keep coming across this word devices in the spirit. And let's go ahead and go into it. Goes back to the Hebrew. Mahashaba. Thought, device, plan, person, purpose, invention. So here it is. They thinking they behind the scenes. They coming up with these different plans and plots. When in all actuality, these left-handed spirits is working on the mind of Esau. They're getting influence. Like I say in Job, when deep sleep falleth upon men in the slumbers of the bed, the Lord, you know, sealeth their instructions. So, you know, although they may think they have a plan, a purpose, an invention, you know, a certain plot, really it's the Lord influencing them divinely to do particular things. So that's why the Lord can boast and say things like, nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand. Okay, that shall stand. All right. Let's see where we at real quick. So let's get back. Oh, as a matter of fact, I didn't even have it pulled up. Salaki, I was reading Proverbs 19 and 21. All right. I'm still trying to get a hang of, using this, but let's keep moving to our next. What we got next? So, Amos. I was going to Amos 8 and 11 because they were talking about misinformation and trying to crack down on it. And in all actuality, they want to come against this truth. This is Amos 8 and 11. Behold, the days come, talking about prophecy, saith Yahweh. That's the name you'll come across when you have God in all caps. That I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor thirst of water, Salakia, which it will be, because it is prophesied in Matthew the 24th chapter that there shall be famines and pestilences. As it says here, but of hearing the words of the Lord. So you're not going to be able to swallow down understanding and devour wisdom. You're not going to be able to spiritually digest the meal that's prepared by way of the prophets through the spirit and eat. All right. So this word is going to be eliminated off of YouTube, off of BitChute, off of Daily Motion. You're not going to be able to find the truth. So that's why in Isaiah 55, it says, seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near, because it's going to be a time where the Lord ain't going to be near. It says, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh and shall not find it. Why? Because the Lord is going to put the spirit on these people to take his word off the internet. All right. And we're seeing the beginning phases of it. What is big tech's role in preventing the spread of misinformation? And over the years that I've been in the truth, this keeps coming up, every so often. So one day there's going to come a time where, bam, something's going to happen and you ain't going to be able to find a word and you asked out. That's why you want to be getting built up right now. Verse 13, in that day shall the fair virgins, the beautiful young women, and the young men shall faint for thirst. Yahweh Shai said, blessed are they that thirst for righteousness. So the thirst is talking about they're going to be looking for answers. They're going to be wanting the truth, but they're going to be asked out. All right. So now we got that. Now, pretty much touched on this cost of living situation. All right. It's 2 minutes. I'll play a little bit of it, but this is just continuing that narrative of how people are suffering economically all throughout the globe.
He says a mental health condition means he can't work. But as the cost of living crisis gets worse, he says the money he gets isn't enough to live on.
Things are being quite...
So just imagine that. This is a man, he got mental disability that prevents him from working. So he has a certain amount that the government is giving him. And now he sees that with inflation and the economy and the cost of living and all these different things that's happening worldwide, happening to a lot of people. He's saying that he can't afford basic necessities. Now, there's a couple of outcomes that can happen from this. He can either have family help him out, help a situation out, or he can lift up the sword and go out there and take what he wants. You understand? Esau is blessed with the sword. His natural instinct. We read the characteristics of Esau, all right, and how he's a cunning man, cunning hunter, man of the field, that he loves blood, that he hates his brother Jacob, that he's a deceiver, a liar. So Esau's gonna revert to that animalistic behavior. Now, he could be an Edomite, all right, but that's just a couple of examples of how these people is going to change. When you read in Genesis, the 47th chapter, and we spoke about this yesterday at camp, when Joseph was in control of all the resources and substance in Egypt, and there was a sore famine in the land, there were Egyptians, coming to Joseph. They were first to start off with the money. Once all the money of Egypt was done away with, they start selling themselves as slaves and servants unto Pharaoh. They start selling their land. So we can run parallels with what happened then to now. When it's a famine, a sore famine, people is gonna do anything. They're gonna be vulnerable. They're gonna be willing to do anything for food, man. So, you know, we know that wickedness is gonna be at an all-time high. Let's get a preset real quick because the love of many shall wax cold. So people, and then we read part of it in Exodus 15. You know, they shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands, and they're gonna be invading one another, so on and so forth. Matthew 24:12. And it reads, because iniquity shall abound. What is iniquity? That's sin upon sin. Abound is increase. So it's going to be wickedness increasing. The love of many shall wax cold. People going to say, look, man, I've been working this job for 30 years. I'm losing my house. I done lost my wife. You know, I don't know where my kids at. I'm hungry. I got weapons. I got ammunition. I used to be in the army. I'm finna go and take what I want. That's just one example. All right. You know, the love of many is going to wax cold and people's going to, you know, turn into a whole nother sort once you incorporate the famine and the food shortages. Or this economy is going to be in a situation to where the people's going to feel betrayed. Wait a minute, I thought y'all loved us. I thought the government was supposed to help out. Like we read in 2 Ezra 15 and 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. People are going to be running to people's houses, man. They shall not regard their kings nor their princes, which today is the mayors, the governors, the politicians, the presidents. You know, you can throw in the law enforcement agencies, you know, the sheriffs, the police. They ain't gonna be giving a damn about all these different people that's in a position of power because they're gonna feel betrayed. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power because it's more power in numbers. Like I said, people gonna be banding up little militias and all that, trying to fight against the government because they're gonna feel betrayed. Wait a minute, I thought y'all was bringing the food. I thought y'all was gonna, you know, bring in water. You know, the system has collapsed. We can't get any water. You know, the reservoirs is empty. The waters is polluted. You know, y'all having us in a position that we're gonna be, you know, dying, seeing our children die. So people is gonna band up together and they're gonna be fighting against the government and all that. That's why they was trying to take away your guns, limit the amount of ammunition. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So people are going to be trying to flee, going to different cities. You know, and as I was mentioning earlier, when you read the account of Genesis, the 47th chapter, when there was a famine in the land of Canaan, in the land of Egypt, you know, Jacob and his boys, they left Canaan and went all the way to Egypt. So people during the time of famine, they're going to be willing to travel. They're going to be wanting to travel, as it says here, desire to go in the city. They're going to hear how it's potentially better in another city. It's not as bad in LA because there's so much crime and so much riot and looting. It's not safe. People's going to want to go to different places, but like it says here, shall not be able because it's going to be checkpoints, lockdown, shutdown, security checkpoints, you know, so on and so forth. Because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, Jacob's trouble. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And I mean, when you examine the population, you got Generation Z, a whole bunch of, you know, people of the alphabet community, weirdos and bug outs, right? So you got men that's going to be in a, you know, weak position, you know, weak-minded. They're going to be afraid. They're not war ready. You know, because this society has produced a whole bunch of feminine, you know, and soft men. All right, so we got that, and then we got some judgment going on, and we're nearing the end. We're 49 minutes in. From Sky News, at least 25 killed as landslide caused by floods tear through Venezuela town. So, you know, judgment. You know, it's the fear of the Lord. And as it is written, through the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. So, you know, some areas is already experiencing Jacob's trouble. But remember, the focal point is Babylon the Great, which is America. When it come here, it's over. Destruction. And there in Venezuela, you know, they worshiping Virgin Mary, Guadalupe. They got witchcraft, Brujeria, you know, Wicca. You know, they worship the dead, all that, man. So it's judgment going out. And like I said, these are Israelites, all right? This is judgment. So that's pretty much it. That concludes the lesson. This has been another edition of News, Prophecies, and Global Events. You know, and Lord willing, you know, your brothers and your few sisters was edified through the Spirit. And I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash, and double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, and taught us his truth. Shalom, Akim. Stay strong, stay watching.